When you are starting your first location independent Alpha 2.0 business, and that should be ideally a B2B business where you are selling consulting or some sort of service. That's the ideal scenario. Can it be other things? Sure. But if you want to get from zero to the money as quickly as possible, ideally your first business, location independent business that sets you free from your 9-to-5 job and gets you location independent, should be B2B, consulting, or some sort of service, even if you outsource the consulting or outsource the service to technicians or admin teams who know how to do this better than you. That's okay. When you start that first business, speed, speed, speed. If you've been listening to any of my content for the past, I've been producing content for about 15, 16 years. But if you've been listening to my content, my 5 flag stuff, at least the past 6 or 7 years, speed. Speed. You can't afford to wait anymore. The United States, Canada, Western Europe, these are collapsing right before your fucking eyes. And people who keep voting for these woke people and these Trump type people who keep making it worse, go read my blogs, how much worse they're making it, including the Trump stuff. They're not going to stop. They're going to keep doing this. They're going to keep making excuses. They're going to stay in these countries and keep voting for horrible people who keep making government bigger, who keep doing these stupid wars and keep defending Jeffrey Epstein and all this bullshit. Okay, this is going to get worse and worse and worse. You don't have time. You're already behind schedule. And I've said many times, I'm happy to say this again. If I lived in the USA, Canada, Western Europe, Australia right now, and I had no location dependent income and no backup plan, I had no residencies or any of that stuff, I had none of those things, I would be screaming in terror every morning. And most of you are just like, oh, well, this sucks. You just keep right on going. So the issue here is speed. You need to get that first client as fast as possible, even if it's messy. Get the client and get the money when it comes to your first client. Now, if it's your 5th client or 100th client, that's different. That needs to be a specific offer, specific price point, specific, guarantee. You're only going to sell certain things. You're not going to negotiate the price. Things like stuff that I do, but I've been in business for 30 years. Okay, when it's your first business, speed. Speed. You don't want to fuck around in your first business for 6 months or 12 months or 18 months before you start getting paid. That's why you do B2B consulting or a service. Okay? So the first thing you need to do is get that first client and get paid. It doesn't even matter if you have a super perfect constructed offer. It doesn't matter if you have exact price points. Yes, these things help, of course. They're not necessary. You can just say, what is your problem? Hey, Mr. Prospect, what's your problem? My problem is this. I'll fix it, $1,000. Or I'll reduce it by 50%, $800. Or I'll do this and this on that problem, $2,000. Boom. If they go, well, that's too much. All right, $1,000, $800, and I'll guarantee this and this. And you just make it up on the spot. Well, that sounds a little messy. Yeah, it's messy. Your first client is going to be messy. You think my first client, when I started my first company back when I was, how old was I? My first business, part-time, 22 years old, was perfectly structured. And I had this exact pricing structure and exact this and exact guarantee and exact, and I knew my USP. And no, I just said, what's your problem? This, I'll fix it. This, and I don't remember what the number was. They're like, all right, did get the client, get the money. No, you don't negotiate your prices, but you do on your first 1 to 3 clients. Your first 1 to 3 clients, they say, that's too much. You say, all right, then what's fair to you? And you just get paid and get in there and work. Well, Caleb, what if I can't fix their problem? Because I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Then you refund their money, but you probably can make an improvement. And this is something I say in the 90-day business builder program to these guys. If you bust your ass for 30 days for your first client, you get a first client, they're going to pay you X, or they've paid you X. They're going to try to work on a problem and help solve or alleviate. Some problems can't be solved in business, but they can be alleviated, right? Solve or alleviate the problem. If you spent 30 days working hard for that first client to help solve or improve that problem, do you think you could make a dent in that problem? You think you probably would? Yeah, you probably would. You'd probably make an improvement. If I hired you to fix some little problem in one of my companies, and even if it wasn't something you're super good at, but you had 30 days to work on it and you were super, super, super motivated to get some results from me because I'm your first client, you want to get paid and you want the testimonial and you want to make the first client happy, and you think you'd help me out? Yeah, you'd help me out. So I'm sure you're going to make an impact, a positive impact for that first client. Even if you don't exactly know what you're doing, even if you don't have an exact price, You don't have when you're on the phone and you're pitching what you're pitching, you don't have it written in front of you. So many of you are, these nerdy engineering types, you have everything spelled out. And yes, that helps. You don't need to. Speed. Get the fucking client. Get fucking paid. The first client, second client, third client. Then on the fourth client, by the fourth client, you'll have a pretty good idea what the hell you're doing. And then you can say, all right, this is my price. This is what I do. And if you get on the phone for the fourth client, oh, I don't like that price. I'll pay you this. No, I'm sorry. That's the price. Now I can reduce the price, but I'm going to do by 50% as well. By the fourth client, then you have some real serious hardcore structure that you wired into your business. But that doesn't happen to after your first 1, 2, 3 clients or even more. Get the client and get fucking paid. Stop farting around trying to make your business perfect. It won't be perfect when it's new. No new business is perfect. They're all fucked up, including startups where billions of dollars are involved. And I've worked on those companies as a consultant. They're fucked up. That's normal. Get the client and get paid. What if I don't know this? What if I don't know that? It doesn't fucking matter. Get the client and get paid. And then once the client agrees to pay you, or they do pay you, or they pay you a deposit or whatever, if they agree to hire you, whatever terms you figured out, just figure it out on the phone. Who cares? Then yes, those first 30 days or whatever the time frame you're looking at, work hard to help improve that problem. And I'm sure you will. You'll be okay. Stop being a perfectionist about this. So many of you in my audience are still sitting on your dumb asses in Europe, Canada, US, Australia, because you want everything to be perfect before you make any moves. You're fucked. Don't do this. Start the business, get the client, get paid, even if it's a fucking mess, which it will be. My first clients in my first company were a goddamn mess from hell. I made it work. I was making $100,000 a year within a few years in the 1990s dollars with no high school diploma, no college degree, didn't know what the fuck I was doing, a young guy in my 20s. Dumber and younger than most of you watching this video. And I was able to make it work because I didn't mind the concept of having a little messy business for a few while as I got my first clients. Speed. Stop fucking around. Just get the client and get paid and figure it out as you go.